Hey Absol-lites, what if you were a Pokemon gym leader? That's a question I asked in early December of last year, and in that, I answered it twice, and it was a ton of fun flexing my creative muscles for it. So today, we are trying that again. We're doing this in a similar style to what Birdkeeper Toby did with his My Pokemon Gym series, but since I don't want to be that unoriginal, I'm going to do it slightly differently. You see, in my first Pokemon Gym video, I did it twice, but both times I was the 8th and final gym leader. Today, however, we do that differently. Today we ask, what if I were the first gym leader? For this gym, I'm gonna go with one of my favorite types, and one of the types that's hardest to deal with early game, the Ghost type. Now, on the surface, Ghost doesn't seem that hard to deal with. It does have 2 immunities, but it also has 2 fairly easily exploitable weaknesses, and it isn't good against many types either. The problem arises, however, in what their immunities are. Ghost is immune to normal, and most of the moves you'll probably have at this point will be normal type. You'll have an elemental move on your starter, maybe a flying or a bug move if you picked up a Pokemon of one of those types, and that's it. You will have an extremely small amount of moves to work with at this stage in the game that can actually hit me. I always like it when gyms have themes, and this gym's theme is, well, dead. All the Pokemon my gym trainers have will be spirits, dead Pokemon, such as Duskull, literally a skull with a spirit body. Ghastly, 95% poison gas, but 5% people who died from said poison gas, or Yamask, which used to be human, but still carries around the mask of the face it wore when it was alive. Also, there's one trainer who just has a single Shedinja, and when you beat him, I yell, "Billy, what have I told you about that Shedinja?" But let's talk about those gym trainers. I love the idea that the people who used ghost types are possessed, like the channelers in the Pokemon Tower. So these trainers are all channelers, just like them, but when you beat them, rather than the spirits seeming to fly out of them, the channelers fall limp and a little ghost floats out. Now, we move on to the gym puzzle. So, the gym is like a misty forest, like the Lost Woods from the Legend of Zelda series or something. There are a ton of branching paths, but only one of them is correct, and if you walk too far in the wrong direction, you get sent back to the start. I absolutely love the Lost Woods, and I love the idea of it being used in Pokemon, or at least something resembling it. But, you get through all of that, and when you do, you get to me, the gym leader. Now, I'm no imposing gym leader. In fact, I always seem kinda sad, actually, and I'm pretty chill and laid back. Kinda like Sans from Undertale, because I like that game. I don't really have any sort of outfit, per se. I really just wear a hoodie and blue jeans, because, I'm just casual. That's what casual people like me wear. I start the battle by saying, "My first Pokemon will send you into another dimension." And I send out my first Pokemon, a Ghastly. Now, Ghastly is nothing special in terms of stats, nor in terms of damaging moves, but where it shines is the setup moves. Ghastly will, like I said, set you up into another dimension, quite literally, in the case of its first move, though the last one he'll use, Trick Room. Now, like I said, Trick Room won't be used for a while, because Ghastly is fairly fast. Instead, Ghastly will set up Mean Look and Confuse Ray on you, as well as Hypnosis to keep you in place for a while. When I get the feeling you'll take him out, though, that's when I'll set up Trick Room to clear the way for my next Pokemon, Duskull. Now, Duskull is extremely slow, so it will take liberal use of Trick Room and set up Will-O-Wisp, and then it will hit you a few times with Astonish and Shadow Sneak, the 2 damaging moves it has. Nothing much to say there. Once Trick Room goes away, however, Duskull will stall you out and try to just annoy you to death with the last move on its roster, Protect. Eventually, though, Protect will fail, and you'll be able to take Duskull down. So then comes my last Pokemon, Haunter. When I send out Haunter, a spirit, I'll say a seemingly nonsensical comment about it being with me since the start, even though presumably I started my journey with a starter. Then, however, it should click for you. The reason I'm so sad, but I hide my sadness behind a veil of nonchalance. If you, the viewer, haven't figured it out, however, I won't tell you. I'll just let you figure that out. Now, when I get into the battle, I'll immediately start outspeeding with a base speed that should completely immobilize you. And then I hit you with the sweeper moves of Hex and Venoshock, which are honestly probably the weakest moves I could have used that still use Haunter's special attack, because, man, Haunter has too good a move pool. And I use those two while keeping you from ever KOing me with an Eviolite to make your moves do even less damage, and the move Rest to heal if you get low. Once I'm asleep for rest, however, I'll still keep sweeping your team with the last move on my set, Snore. I want you to hurt in this battle. I want you to run, crying, back to the first route to grind your team up as high as you can so that you can get enough moves that you can actually hit me. But you will eventually have to beat me. And when you do, I will give you the Spirit Badge, as well as the TM for Hex. After that, though, I'll say, listen here, kid. Treat your Pokemon well. Otherwise you may regret it. So, that's that. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, watch the credits, and peace out! Wow, I say this in every video I make, but this was so much fun to do. Which, I guess it's a good thing that I say that in pretty much every video. I love getting to finally flex my creative muscles in a way that most videos don't actually let me do, and I really wanted to do another video that let me do some drawing, so I was glad I got to do this. I don't really know what to say, so, follow me on Twitch. Like, subscribe, all that jazz, and I don't really know what else to say, so I'm just gonna let music play for a little while so that you can get a chance to read the credits. Peace out.